Hello and welcome to.
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined, as always, by my trusted partner and friend, Pat Pickett. How you doing, Maddie? Good to see you.
And friend. I like that. You never said that before. I mean, I know we're friends, Dawn. It's not like that, but like,
I know, I just added it.
I like it. It's touching. Thank you. I'm doing great. I'm excited because this is like the second week of the semester. And so that's a very slow time for advisors because the first week is hectic and then it gets crazy pretty soon. But this is like the lull. So I was like, you know what? I got nothing on my calendar for tomorrow. Taking the day off. So I'm about to start a 3-day weekend. In fact, actually 3.5 days, because on Monday I have a friend from high school who's blowing through town. I'm going to meet up with her for breakfast. So I'm just jiving, just vibing, just feeling great, Dawn. Plus, and we'll get to this a little bit, I'm sure, but with the Lions being knocked out since we last talked, I mean, I'm doing great. Bills still alive. I'm rooting for the Bills. Many people are saying, rooting for the Bills at this point. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah. How about you, Dawn? How you doing?
Well, I love the Bills, for sure. I'm hoping we get to see Beverly Lawyer show up in the chat. Haven't seen her since the Lions lost.
That's right.
But, you're welcome here. Losers are welcome here too, Beverly.
Losers are welcome here. Wow.
Who initially referred to the Lions as the Tigers. So I know she's really not as into it as she was to think. But it's something about her son-in-law being into the Lions. But in any case, hi, Beverly Lawyer. So sorry for your sadness. I'm doing okay. We've been on watch. The wind is still winding here. It's we get Santa Ana conditions on and off all year, right? And then but it's when in fall is generally when it's the driest. But we've had like this Santa Ana condition for 2 weeks, and so there's fires popping up all day, and they're near areas where people who live there. It's just not a fun time. We are expecting finally rain. I will believe it when I see it, but on Sunday. So for me, I probably talked about it on this show before. I love rain. It's so rare. And I like rain anyway. I don't care where I am. I just like rain. It's just a rare thing here. But like where I live in San Diego County, our annual rainfall is about 7 inches. And normally we get 5.5 of those inches between October and December. And so this is our supposed rainy season. And we've had 0. Oh, so to give you the idea of, we're already a dry climate, but that's how dry it is. And that's why what happened in LA happened. And, it's just not a great situation if you live out here. Plus, it makes you sneeze a lot. So I'll be really happy when we get a little bit of rain, and maybe those fires up in the LA area will be 100% contained. They're still putting them out. And the ones down here, thankfully, for whatever reason, the last decade or so, we haven't had any really super bad one. Like, they're getting them out really quickly. I mean, people have to be evacuated and stuff, but it's still like within a day or two, they're home, everything's done. And that's really great, but it's still kind of nerve-wracking. And, I looked in this week. I was trying to figure out how I could help, like by fostering some cats or pets for a while, but it seems like so there's like all these different, it's not centralized. It's not like you put your name in and tell them what you can do. It's like, you have to do like 10 different agencies, and they all have different requirements. So I started those applications, but a lot of them say they want you to be local, and it's like, I don't want to call them and ask, is it okay if I'm down here? By the time I get help. So then I was like, well, maybe I should just adopt a cat. I don't know. So then I started looking at kittens, and I found the greatest kitten and I think Tosh would like to have a kitten. And then
Mhm.
it just happened to find him, and he's gone the next morning. I put my application in, and he was already taken. So
That's bad.
I don't know, but he was at a shelter, so I figured. But he was so cute. He was a long-haired,
Mhm.
fluffy-eared one. So that's been my life this week. And of course, I'm still recovering. Very successful surgery, no complaints, but just tired and
Yay.
doing great though. I mean, couldn't ask for better care. So I'm happy about that. So hey, let's get on over to our what do we have? We have it's time for this week's superlatives. There we go.
Yes, it is.
It's time.
I love it so much. Every week it still gets me done. Every week
I know
love
it's
it.
fun. And then when you
So
start laughing, I start laughing. So it's contagious. Okay, so I'll start us out. I have some really dumb stuff this week, but I think you have three.
Awesome.
I have two categories, but three in each one, but they're really kind of smart. So my first one is fraternizing with the enemy again with Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews again.
Mark Andrews again, because I love that guy.
Mhm.
He's so great. I mean, I think he's just a wonderful person from what I can tell. He might be a real jerk. I don't know. But I don't think so. He's really nice. And I love watching him play. I don't know. Did you watch the Ravens Bills game?
Such a good game. I loved it. Yes.
It was so fun to watch. However, Mark had a bad day. Mark Andrews had a bad day. Even Henry dropped a ball that day. So I don't know what the problem was with them dropping balls, if it was just so cold. But in any case, I felt terrible for Mark Andrews because that was the last play and they almost pulled it off. And he's so reliable. He's so good. And he maybe retired. This might have been his last game.
Oh, really?
Which is really sad. To go out like that, it's got to be heartbreaking for somebody. But I hope he knows how many fans he has. I didn't see it, but a lot of people evidently went off, mean people on Twitter and but I did hear about that later. So I just thought I'd bring him back up again about how great he is. So there was a report that happened. I believe this was after I did my little piece on Mark Andrews a year or two ago. So in last year, not last year, well, a year ago-ish, he saved someone's life on an airplane. Did you hear about this?
What? No, I don't think I did.
So he was flying on Southwest Airlines, evidently. A woman was struggling, and there was a doctor on the flight as a passenger, and the flight attendants were trying to help. And he said, hey, it kind of seems like she might be having a low blood sugar problem because I have diabetes and I have a kit here. Would you like to test it, Mom? And that turned out to be what it was.
Oh, wow.
And and so I just thought that was great. I mean, and it was just great that he had the unfortunate experience in his own life of having that disease, but also was able to be there at the right time to help somebody else because he knew about it. So I thought that was really cool. I heard about that because Flemlo Reps did a piece on Mark Andrews too, and his was more philosophical, but in that piece he mentioned that he saved someone's life, and I looked into it and I went and found the original article. So Flemlo's video was why Mark Andrews shouldn't be defined by his worst moment and the deeper reason. So he was kind of being philosophical and all of that, why people shouldn't be, first impressions are so important, right? And last impressions, but maybe his whole body of work should be what you look at. And so it was just nice and balanced. And Flemlo, as we know, has just a great big heart, and he likes to get real philosophical. So that was an interesting little video that he did. And then also, just turning this negativity around,
Mhm.
Bill's Mafia. I don't know if you heard this. Bill's Mafia raised over $40,000 for Mark Andrews' charity after he dropped that ball and after
I
they
love this.
saw that negativity. So those are my
Mhm.
3 things about Mark. So, finding the good instead of
Mhm.
being negative about someone. And for those people who were so nasty about him, words do hurt. And to be ashamed of yourself. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
Like, what the heck?
Yes.
And
Couldn't agree
that
more.
goes for our players too, like putting our team down, any team. But
Yes.
I mean, any person, it's okay to criticize and question, when somebody does something goofy, but we don't have to drag them because they made an honest, mistake and they were
Yeah.
human and they dropped a ball. I mean, come
Seriously.
on.
Yeah.
He dropped a ball. Anyway, it's a game, right?
It's a game.
It's a
Seriously.
game. So that was my fraternizing with the enemy again. My little tribute to Mark Andrews, and I hope he has the best retirement ever.
That was lovely, Dawn. Yeah, Mark Andrews seems like such a good dude. I love that the Bills Mafia showed up for him like that. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's so great. They do some really cool stuff, that Bills Mafia.
Yeah, no doubt.
I do.
All right, should I do my first one?
Yes, let's hear it.
All right, my first is best tribute. So this is actually like late last week. I only caught up to it this week, but it's still worth mentioning. This was Wes Hodquist on Packers Unscripted. He did a tribute to his friend, his mentor, Mike Vandersnick.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he basically gave Wes the floor for like 4 minutes at the end of the episode.
Yes. Yes.
And Dawn, it was
I know.
it was so beautiful. It was like
It
really
was.
touching. It was just,
Yes.
Wes being very like,
Mhm.
emotionally open and raw and honest and vulnerable,
Yeah.
talking about like, his love and his profound, gratitude for this person, for Mike Vandersnick, in his life, what he meant to
Mhm.
him. It was just think about it now. I'm trying to like, just take a breath, Matt. Don't start crying about it.
Right. Right. It was very
it was
emotional.
good.
Oh, yes, that was
And I think
beautiful.
it was also the the season ending episode of Packers Unscripted before we get to like, whatever, I guess the combine, the draft, what have you. Yeah, it was a beautiful way to wrap up their season for their podcast. It was really nice.
That's a good one. That's a really good one, Matt. And it's worth going back to because that wasn't really a lot of the things that they were discussing there weren't that time sensitive as they would be like normally during the season. Obviously, the Packers season. So, yeah, I like that. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What's your next one?
My next one is another category where I have 3, and I'm just going to rant. Okay. What the HE double hockey sticks?
Whoa.
NFL refs. Come on. What the is going on? What's going on out there, as Vince would say? So if you watched the Chiefs game, Chiefs and
Texans?
Thank you. My brain. I'm so tired.
Right?
I'm so tired. Thank you. You'll have heard a lot, and you might have seen a lot, and you might have had a lot of opinions about the NFL refs again being not just incompetent, but when it's so blatantly in favor of one team or player, it's just really worth talking about. And I know a lot of people say, well, I don't like to complain about refs, but you know what? I've decided this week is it's okay because we're being gaslighted. People are gaslighting us and saying, you didn't really see that. No, it's whether it's fixed or not, I'm not saying that, but my whole idea about this is for people not to question it, to question what's going on with refs who have been known in the past in professional sports to cheat for money when money is on the line, when betting is on the line, and etc. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. Okay,
it's not unprecedented. There's been instances.
Exactly, perfectly said. And so for some of the major broadcasts, most of them didn't, but there were a couple that were out there saying, oh, come on, it's the NFL, grow up. They make mistakes. They're just human. Okay. I just found it extremely unbecoming of Patrick Mahomes to be playing around, whether he's up, whether he's down. I call that cheating. I just call it cheating. And then for the refs to actually bless it with a penalty on top of that, that's just double. It's like a double insult to our intelligence.
Yeah,
and
for intelligence.
Yes, to what our own eyes are seeing. So, and what I found when I heard some of the national broadcasts, I was like, okay, this is for real, and they're calling for, certain kind of reviews should be done and that kind of thing to solve the problem. And that's great. But I did notice a couple of the national broadcasters who were like, oh, just deal with it. And I noticed, and I'm not going to name their names, 3 major figures that we all know are household names when it comes to the NFL, and some of whom I love listening to, but they are beholden to the NFL. If you know anything about their business, which most people don't, you think they work for a network, but the NFL has strings to them, or some of them might be looking for a job in the NFL down the road, which they might have even mentioned in the past. So it's like, yeah. And so for the majority of people and national announcers to be talking about it, including right during the game, evidently, because I don't listen to the national broadcast because it drives me bananas. I can't stand it. I can't even remember. Was that Collinsworth that day? I think it was.
I can't remember either. I was thinking about what you're talking about. I can't remember who had the call.
I heard. No, I don't know if it was Collinsworth, because I heard Troy Aikman was outraged. Now, I don't know if he was announcing or if he just commented on it.
Oh, no, it was Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. It was.
Okay, so then it was Troy Aikman. Okay. So, yeah, you're not, don't allow people to gaslight. I don't like gaslighting. I can't stand gaslighting in my personal life. And I've gotten much better, especially as a female, to identify when somebody's trying to do that, because it happens commonly where, mansplaining, all that happens. I had something going on in my personal life, something that I had to explain and like stand my ground with this week. And it's like, if I was a guy, this wouldn't even have happened. It would have been like, okay, I'll take it. Yeah. Anyway, so I was like really annoyed and what can we do about it? Right. What can we do about it right now? We cannot watch the games. I'm going to tell you, if I'm sorry, and I'm not a spoiled sport, because I love players from all different teams. I talk about all different teams, fan bases from all different teams. We just talked about the Bills Mafia, how we live. So it's not that, because that's what a lot of the gaslighting is. Oh, they just are sick of because the Chiefs are winning, so they're just jealous. No, trust me, it's not that. It's not at all that. I like sportsmanship and I like things to be fair. I don't think that's too much to ask. And I think most people like that. So one broadcaster pointed out that the ratings are down, that people were tuning out of Chiefs games.
That's interesting. People are saying,
yeah, I did not enjoy the Super Bowl last year. It was just like,
yeah, me neither.
Because you
watched the SpongeBob version with my kids and I actually enjoyed that, but only because it was the SpongeBob version, because it was hilarious.
I don't even know if I'll watch this year. I mean, I really don't think I will. Depends. I mean, obviously, because the narrative that the NFL, the story that they've wanted to sell us all year is the Chiefs three-peat crap. And I'm sorry, if that's what we're going to be looking at, because they made it happen. The other thing is the Chiefs have only won by one score all year. Yeah. All those wins. It's like, one score that they got help with.
All it takes is one call to tilt a game that's that close. It's true.
That's right. Call. That's right. And a lot of these calls, many people who know way more about football than I ever will are saying, yeah, this can directly be tied to these points. And some of it's so obvious. So the only thing we can do right now is not watch the games, because that's the NFL. if the NFL sees that everybody wants to watch because the three-peat story and the ratings go up, they'll be like, well, so it was worth it, wasn't it? And so, yeah. But last year, 1 year ago, it was Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid both getting fined by the NFL for criticizing the refs publicly. Now, did you know?
Remember that?
Yeah. Did you know that players and coaches are not allowed to criticize the refs? Mm-hmm. So they will get fined. And so they did. And Mahomes was irate on the field after the call, temper tantrum. We might call it a temper tantrum. Visibly expressed his displeasure with the call during his post-game interaction. I rewatched it and I was like, yeah, spoiled brat. But he also, he kind of went after Josh Allen about it, right? And so that's going to be the game we're going to be watching this Sunday, right? And continued to vent during the press conference. And then they ended up having to walk back their statements, both Reid and Mahomes, but they did both get fined. Big deal. What do they care? They've got so much money. It really doesn't matter that much.
True.
But I just kind of contrasted that behavior with that beautiful gesture that Josh Allen made toward Lamar Jackson at the end of their game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Now that's sportsmanship, and that's what I love. That's why I love to watch the end of the game as the players and the coaches go on the field and shake each other's hand after the game and all that. And the fact that he just went right to Lamar immediately was just, everything. It's like, that's why you watch the game. That's why I watch the games.
Yeah.
And so when you see these spoiled bad sportsmanship by certain ones, it's just, it doesn't have anything to do with whether the Chiefs are winning more or they deserve to win. At that point, it's like, I don't care. I don't want to watch him. I don't want to watch somebody like that play. And I certainly don't want, I don't want the refs to obviously be expected to do superhuman things, but I also think that it's pretty obvious what's going on, and most people believe it. And then also just all the NFL memes this week, like every day, multiple ones. It's like, I feel better. I'm not the only one who's thinking that.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's my thing. What do you think? I mean, will you watch the game if you feel like a team doesn't deserve to be there?
I mean, it depends on what the game is. It comes down more to that than anything else. I mean, I'm gonna definitely try to watch the Chiefs and Bills game this weekend because I want to see the Bills beat the Chiefs.
I want to see the Bills win.
But I didn't watch the Chiefs and Texans this last weekend because I was like, I don't really think they're gonna let the Chiefs lose, which is what happened.
Right.
And I don't really care about that as much. Right. I don't really care about the Texans. I don't like the Chiefs, so it's kind of like, I'm not gonna watch that. So I guess to a degree, like I did kind of do that already. But yeah, Dawn, I think there's something you said in there that is, this is gonna sound a little political because it is. I think in this era, like believe what you see with your eyes, what you hear with your ears. If you think somebody's doing a freaking Nazi salute, they probably are. Okay. Anyhow, not to get too political, I just stepped in it.
Yeah.
But and I thought, I can remember who said it on what podcast this week, but it was like last week. They're saying the winner of the Ravens and Bills will have the honor to step into the vortex of baloney, the substitute word there, that is playing against the Chiefs. And I was like, that's so perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. And I think because I did, and I wanted to give the Chiefs I want to see good football, right? I want to see good players. And so I did watch a lot of their games and I saw a lot of the ref calls all year. So I feel like the maybe they still would have been first. Would they have 15 wins? Probably not. Probably not. But I want to see it. I want it to be good. I want it to be fair. I want it to be a good sport and good sportsmanship. So, so it's not that just the last game, but my hope is obviously that the Bills do win. I think a lot of people are hoping that. There was even an NFL meme about that, like the game that the Americans really want to see, or football fans, I shouldn't say Americans, football fans really want to see is the Bills and the Commanders. Wouldn't that be just divine? Yeah. So that'd be such a fun game.
That's what I'm hoping for.
So yeah, hoping for the Bills to have a good game. And do they have to beat them by 40 in reality to actually win by 2? Okay, that's not fair. But, we'll see what happens.
It happens.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to be like the good person who says, well, we just didn't play well enough if we just played a little bit better, but it shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't have to factor in cheating or poor sportsmanship or all of that times 10.
Agreed.
All right, I'm done ranting.
All right. Well, Dawn, I have 2 more superlatives. Did you have any more or not?
Mark, why would you have offended me? Not at all. There needs to be a penalty like the NHL has for embellishment. Oh, yeah, that's like flopping, and yep, that makes sense. And Houston's special, and this is also from Mark, Houston's special team cost them that game. They did. And True North. What does True North say?
My NFL season ended with the Vikings and Lions losses. Keep throwing picks, Darnold Goff. Yes. All right, so Dawn, I have 2 more superlatives. Did you have any more? Should I do them back to back?
Nope. And then we'll wrap it up.
All right, my last 2. I got best relief. So you know how it is. Our season's over. It's kind of annoying. The season ended annoyingly, as we talked about last week. So the thing that is keeping me from just like being like, who cares about the NFL and podcasts and because I listen to podcasts a lot. So to keep from that kind of like burnout and just kind of annoyingness, whatever, being annoyed about it all, the thing that has really saved me this last week is 3 amazing people, Dawn, who did 2 different podcasts together. Of course, I'm talking about Aaron Ellis, Monty Moore, and Dusty Evely, who are always together for watching stuff. And of course, Aaron and Monty do Last Call Lambo, and they had Dusty on as their guest last week. So we had 2 different versions, 2 different doses of the 3 of them. And
cool.
They're just so funny together and so fun to listen to. I mean, they're smart, but those hilarious. And so to get to hear that trio of people doing 2 different podcasts, one about Packer stuff, one about Marvel stuff, and especially they're talking about the second half of the first season of Loki, which is some of the best Marvel stuff ever, really. It was just a lot of fun. So huge thanks to the 3 of them for bringing some joy and merriment to our bleak lives.
Yeah, exactly.
It was delightful. So that's one. My last one then, Dawn, is most balanced and informative. So you know how it is when the Pro Bowl, stuff comes out, you hear who got what, and you just kind of like, this is nonsense. Like, why didn't our guys get this? I think it's actually like the not the Pro Bowl, but the other one. The one that just came out really recently. Clearly, I'm very informed. And you're like, why wasn't Xavier McKinney there? Why wasn't this guy there? It's for the AP NFL awards. That's what I'm talking about, to be more precise. And so the thing is, sometimes you need a reasonable voice to come along and say, no, well, look, we had these Packers who were good, but they weren't as good as the people who won. And here's the facts, and let's just calm down and look at it objectively. And so the best version of that was, for a second week in a row, Zach Cruz writing for Packers Wire, and the article is called "No Finalists for Packers Across the 8 AP NFL Awards in 2024." But it was a very, very balanced, very clear-minded and objective article. And of course, Zach's an excellent writer, so there's that too. So it was really great. I'd recommend, if you're feeling a way about how those came out and none of the Packers making it in. Okay, so making it in. It's not making it in. It's defensive player of the year, offensive player of the year, defensive rookie of the year. Those are the ones, of course, I'm talking about. If you're mad that no Packers are even got those, there's a good reason for it, actually. So good work from Zach. Of course,
I like that. Thank you, Zach. I would check that out. All pro.
Definitely worth it.
All pro. Thank you, Mark. Oh, so, you know what?
Up a comment.
Sorry, I just have to say I did have a bonus, but we're going to save it till next week, and it's about this very thing that True North is saying. Congrats to the fans of the Washington Commanders. I second that. Best part is they won after Snyder left, and I don't think it's a coincidence. Yeah, it's glorious. It's beautiful. Yeah,
not. It's really great.
Very nice, Maddie. Well, let's wrap her and bring her home. I know we both have to get off early tonight.
That's right.
Yep, gotta bounce.
Right. Well, I will say next week we're pretty sure pretty sure we're gonna have Dara Carriga joining us, which I'm very excited about. Been loving his
Yes.
been loving his stuff for a long time. Trying to say,
Yes.
but anyhow, friends, we'd love to have the chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right, because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod, and we look forward to seeing you next week on.
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.